we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Grace Frank. This is Eddie Bodkin. And today we have Tuba Warden and Kent DeRoos, and they're new construction experts. So we're going to start out with just asking them to give us a little bit about their background.
Come on. We got room for one more.
So we started already?
Yeah. Two more.
That's right.
All right, well,
go ahead.
I will go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah. Ladies first, Tuba.
That's right.
Not always, though, for the first question, let's say. Okay, so background, I have a short version, but I guess I'll go with the long version. I guess I know a lot of people here, but I'm from Turkey, and I lived in Turkey till I was 28, and I met that guy over there in Turkey. And we sat down and made a list, where do we want to live? And I don't know how, but America won. And I moved here. So I used to be an attorney, and then I became a corporate director for a company for a long time. And about 9 years ago, I got an email. I guess back in the days, you get a mail. I got a mail saying that, hey, you have this $20,000. That was my retirement money that I saved when I was in college. And it was not easy to save, but I made a deal with myself saying that, hey, this is going to be my future. I'm going to save and I'm going to use at one point. But anyways, 9 years ago, they called and they said the company is kind of filing bankruptcy, or they are doing something, and they wanted to give our money. So that was good. We didn't lose it. And that money was so important to me. I didn't know what to do with it. If I put in a bank account, I knew that it was going to be, either a vacation or a furniture. So I didn't want to do that. And me and the kiddos were going to Florida. And I was literally Googling, what do you do with $20,000? What do you do with $10,000? Like, how can you secure your future with, little money? And you can find a lot of info. So that was wonderful. 7 hours, kids are on their iPads, and I'm like having the best time. I'm just keep listening podcasts, YouTube videos. And of course, everybody is talking about the same thing, rich dad, poor dad. And I got into bigger pockets at that point. And anyways, I'm like, I just need to read the book. And that was a 3-day vacation, and I read the book. I'm sure everybody here read the book. But that was a life-changing book for me. Like, literally, every minute I was like, oh my gosh, I knew about this, but nobody told me. I didn't know people were thinking this besides me. But at the same time, I was the little girl of the poor dad. So that was just, it was just so good. And I came home and I had my birthday coming up, and I told my husband, I'm like, all I want is for you to read the book. That's all I want, because I wanted him to support me. You can imagine, like, we are, middle-class family. All we know is make money, spend money. Can we save a little? What do we do for our retirement? So, but anyways, he did. And he's like, oh, I get it. Do whatever you want, and I'm behind you. So that was good. And, when you are sure about something, like 100%, it's such a good feeling. So that was it. I'm like, I'm all in real estate. And I had a full-time job. I worked 10 plus hours for so many years. And the real estate part did not feel like work, because I really, truly loved it. The design and creative financing and working with people. So that was wonderful. Let me speed up. And then I was just kind of getting rentals, and I had my full-time job, and I flipped the house, went well. I'm like, okay, this is good. But then the market started to be very competitive. I'm like, okay, so I need to create my own deals. How am I going to do that? I'm like, maybe I should look into new construction. I started building, and then I'm like, ooh, how about like create my land also? Like, how would that look? And I started getting into, subdividing land, infill developments, and then I got into land development lately. And I became a GC during this time frame. So I am working with other people, but managing my projects too. So that's the background.
But what I love about you is that when you came here, you hardly spoke English.
Yeah, 20 years ago though. So I better so this is not Turkey or Texas, so you can. So yeah, I mean that's something. I think that's 100% the hardest thing ever for me to this day. Like this freaks me out just because of the language. So you are very lucky.
You're
You
doing
can
great.
speak.
You're doing great.
I know, but you are speaking in your native language.
Well, that's
so,
true. Yeah,
take
don't make me do it in
advantage of
Turkish.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Kent has an amazing background. So why don't you give us your background?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Kent DeRoos. I am CEO of Apiary Homes. We're a custom home builder, but we are design build. So we have a studio full of architects that draws everything we do. And our primary approach is that every project we do starts with a blank piece of paper and takes shape according to the site and the wishes of the client and the budget of the client and all of those important things. And so everything we do is unique from something we've done before. So my background, we started our firm in Chicago, focused on the northern suburbs of Chicago, and year by year it grew to being a bit more regional, whether that's the greater Chicago area or Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, et cetera. Dabbled in Florida. And then about 3.5 years ago or so, we came down here to Chattanooga through as life happens, through some mutual friends and connections, and what we were doing wasn't being done by a lot of folks here in town, and some good friends said, "Hey, there's a great fit for you here," and so we're doing custom homes here and in Chicago still. And then my personal background is from the architecture side. So I came up through the company from the architecture side. Every position I've had in the custom home business, which I've been doing for more than 30 years now, has been on the architecture side. And so my passion, my heart and soul is design and designing homes for people that fit them well and are unique to them, and really create a place for life's memories and moments and those sorts of things. So I just love the experience of getting to do that with families, and it's a weird, almost intimate thing that you do when you design someone's home, right? And so how they live and the things that are important to them and bringing those to life, and certainly there's dreams and visions involved as well, in terms of not dreams and visions weird, like dreams and visions of the thing they want, right? I never got really mystical. That was weird. Sorry about that. So yeah, but really people have dreams for what their home can be, and it's just such a rewarding thing to be a small part of that. So.
So can you tell us a little bit more about just having the in-house architecture, like how that
Yeah.
sets you apart?
Yeah, so many builders, and certainly casting no aspersions, many builders will build plans that either homeowners bring to them that they've found somewhere else, or plans that the builders have built before. And so it ends up being, in some cases, you're backing into a plan. You start with a plan, you make a couple small changes, and then it's yours. And so we just take a different approach. And so we're custom, but one of the things that people think about, or an impression they get for custom, is it's expensive. And so we work really hard to diminish that thought, because what we do is we are intentional and thoughtful about every part of the home. And so with our architects on staff, we have meetings direct one-on-one with clients, learn what they want, learn what their budget is, learn about their site, and then we can craft something that's tailored perfectly to them. So, one of the anchors of a home design is when you walk in the front door, what's the first thing you want to see? And so that's actually the first question we ask a homeowner when we're sitting down with a blank piece of paper. And so the fun part about that is it really more expensive to put the door in the right place so you see the thing you want to see? I mean, we're custom. We're not installing 3 front doors. It's not more expensive. It's just going in the right place, and that kind of applies to the entire process.
Good. Okay.
So, what do you see as new construction trends in 2024?
Me first?
Yeah.
You first? All right, great. So, and we could bounce back and forth on this.
Yeah,
I have
sure
kind of
thing.
things that
Yeah.
have come to mind. So
Yeah.
in 2024, certainly in new construction, people are more value minded, I've found. And so that has, for us, that means efficiency in your design, efficiency with your dollars, and those sorts of things, of course. We're seeing more multi-generational living than we had previous years. And so that's actually really nice. I kind of like that part of it. That's a really good thing, I think. And so, and then certainly, it's certainly not a trend for 24 specifically, but just people being able to interact with the outdoors, having a really natural and easy flow indoors and outdoors is always big. So a lot of covered outdoor spaces, often screened, fireplaces and things like that. Those are always really big. That's what came to mind for me.
I guess addition to like what people want to see, you also see a lot of alternatives. So instead of site build, you are seeing more panel construction. They are off build, and they are, bringing them to site. Not in our area. I mean, we have rain and stuff, but we can manage that. But in north, more developers are using either SIP or modular or panel build. And green construction, I mean, that's the hot topic, eco-friendly construction materials. 3D, so that's becoming a thing. I mean, they have some neighborhoods in Carolinas, they are 3D. So I guess the other trend is attached single family because of the affordability. So I was trying to get some info to share with people like that I didn't know, if that would be helpful or not. But it was helpful for me to see some of the stats, especially for our town. I mean, we know that, yes, we built 1 million housing and 1 million is in process of being built. But then we are talking about housing shortage. Like nobody knows that magical number, but it could be 4 million, it could be 7 million, or people are lying to us, so we don't know. But I guess one interesting thing that I noticed for our area, for Hamilton County, so when you look at the building permits, so construction happens in probably 3 stages. You plan for it, and then you start building, and then you complete. And I mean, planning, anybody can do that. Like I have plans for 74 unit townhomes, and when I got approved, I felt great. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm not doing anything with it. It's just sitting. So anybody can plan. And when you look at the Hamilton County, you have 22,000 development cases that either approved or in process since 2022.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. And 13,000 some change for multifamily, 8,000 some change for single family. So, well, that's good. And I start looking at the trends, like what are we building in the area? And so basically until 2021, if we were building one multi-unit, we were building 2 single family. So the ratio was 2 to 1. And well, when you look at 2021 to 2024, that actually changed a lot. Like, I mean, this is since, let's say, 2007, 6. So now, like current projects that we are building, not proposed, we are building, So uh, almost 45% of them are single family, and now you have 11% townhomes. So they call them attached single families, and we didn't have that, category at that high level. And then apartments and condos, they are huge compared to data like what you had from 2006 to 2021. So I thought that was interesting. So that's a trend for 2024 too. People are trying to build cheaper, and one way of doing that is, building condos and apartments. So that was interesting for me to see, but that's what's happening. And I'm in that space. I'm building townhomes, and I do more infill developments, and and I'm not alone. I mean, there are
Right.
3,000 other people. I mean, 3,000 other projects. So
It's a lot of projects.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
You want to ask the next question? Then?
So, so all of us that are in real estate obviously know there are some challenges, whether you're rehabbing and flipping or buying rentals or new construction. So, what would you guys say has been your biggest challenge over the past year with your businesses?
Hmm.
Well, mine is easy, I guess. Waiting times. I mean, I don't know. I guess it is normal, but it shouldn't be. Like, we applied for a permit in September. I just picked up the plans last week.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is not a single family, it's a
Right.
development, and I get it. It is taking longer, but
That's a
6
long-
months,
that's a long
we are
time.
not in California. We don't have crazy regulations.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's been a challenge, and of
Okay.
course the costs
Mm-hmm.
of money in construction. So I had some personal challenges, but those are the general
We'll
ones.
talk about that later.
I have 2 teenagers.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about that later.
Yeah. Yeah, for us, I mean, certainly nothing unusual. I guess maybe for us, the unusual thing is we're relatively new to the market. And so in this environment, also trying to, let people know who we are, what we're trying to do, and what we're trying to do at a high level. Skilled trades are always in high demand, and that's just going to get worse. So that's an ongoing problem, but not really unique to this year and probably next year and years to come. But yeah, we really most of it has been just kind of making sure people know who we are, and we present something different to the market, and so it's difficult to sell and educate all in the same moment, and so that's really been our biggest thing to overcome.
Okay. Okay.
So you see that interest rates have really changed the last year for you guys? Did you see a difference? I mean, obviously in, construction material, not your interest rate for holding your new construction loan is one thing, but I mean, has it seriously changed your business model?
It changed. No, it didn't change my business model, but it definitely affected me because so when I got into real estate, like I said, I was 100% sure that I wanted to be in real estate, but it took a minute for me to figure out what do I want to do in real estate. And you can do so many cool things and make money, right? You can be building warehouses, you can be, working with Section 8, like so many things. So it took a minute for me to figure out what I want to do. And I and it was a decision just saying that, hey, I'm a builder and I love the development space. I think that I have a good vision for dirt or anything that people may not see. I'm like, so how can I, combine all of these? And I'm an investor, and I love that. Thank you, you guys. I noticed on the flyer you put me as an investor because that's what I want to be, but I have, so many hats. So with that, I said, you know what, build to rent. That's what I want to be, and I can, create my own deals, and that way I'm making my numbers work, because it's not easy to make the numbers work with new construction, especially in a town like this. If you are in Chicago, it may be a different scenario. So in my space, built to rent, I mean, when you have the rates go up, when you have the construction cost, you know, what is, I don't even know, 10, 20% higher. Oh yeah, it definitely changes your numbers. And then you start thinking, hey, what do I want to do? Like, do I want to put more money in the deal? So I need to go, you know, work, hustle more so I can actually have that money or raise money. Or do I want to wait? So I'm somebody, I can't wait. I'm like, okay, either we're going to go find more money, or, you know, we're going to put our money down. And again, build to rent is different than, you know, some of the other investment types. You do have lower returns. It's by choice. You have more equity built in the deal. So it's great for wealth creation, right? But when you are looking at cash on cash, you should just go ahead and buy apartment buildings and, you know, hold them like CB, whatever. So yeah, it definitely affected my business. I didn't change my approach. I didn't say that, hey, okay, I'm not going to be in this space. Let me just go find something else. But again, I would say it slowed me down, and also it led me to look for more opportunities to make, I call it active money. Like I can actually go make money so I can use it on the investments. So yeah, that definitely affected me.
Kent?
So maybe it's certainly a different viewpoint. That's certainly not countercultural, but it's maybe some good news, at least in terms of our buyer profile. There's certainly a segment out there that is seeing the rates, doing what they're doing, and they're reluctant to act. But also a strong percentage, I was going to say majority, maybe majority of folks that are deciding to design and build a new home these days. Many of them are empty nesters, for instance, and so they're right sizing, often downsizing, and so they have a lot of equity built up into the house they're selling, and so the interest rates are not that impactful. They may choose to finance 30-40% of a project instead of 80, but it's not, you know, it's not a killer in terms
Right.
of the deal itself. We build for many millennials that are just starting a household. And what's interesting about them is they're often coming from a rental situation. And so they're coming into the market into what are historically generally normal interest rates. And they're saying, well, wait, I mean, these are normal, right? And so I can, well, of course, we still design something to suit their budget, which at higher interest rates it might be less than it otherwise was. But, you know, the 2, 3, 4% rates of
Yeah.
the last 5-10 years is not something they're used to or expected, and so they kind of come out and they're ready to go, and so it's been interesting for sure. As I mentioned earlier, you know, making dollars go farther due to the interest rates certainly is a thing. I don't mean to be dismissive of it, but it hasn't been as big of an impact as maybe you would have expected.
And that's actually a refreshing perspective, you know, just because so many people will talk negatively about the interest rates, but really it was just because it was abnormally low for so
Right.
long, like
Exactly.
almost 15
Right.
years, and finally, a little over a year ago, it started to creep back up. So
Right.
I think that's the better perspective, is just to look at it as that's normally how it really should be.
Right.
People have just been spoiled for a little while, you know.
Yeah,
Well, my
exactly.
first home was 12%.
There you go.
Exactly,
There
right?
you go.
Exactly.
And I'm not really sure who said it, but if it is single digits, then it's good, like for, I guess, investors. So, I mean, it's definitely higher, but I agree. I mean, compared to other countries or, you know, past, it's normal, I guess. And when you have 30-year fixed, like what a luxury. Like, I don't even know, is there any other countries besides US that they offer 30-year fixed? I really don't think so. So when you think of that, I mean, it's what we are experiencing is normal, but of course we were spoiled.
Right.
Yeah.
And it made the numbers easier to work with. And particularly in multifamily, but leases are still high. So interest rates being where they're at still makes more sense to purchase versus rent when the leases are so high as they are right now. So
Yeah, I think most of this really falls under the category of affordability. Interest rates going up, labor and material going up. So just in terms of like your materials for your new builds, I mean, with supply chain shortages and different things going on. So how would both of you how have you been able to just account for maybe delays in some of your materials or the cost going up or just some of those things?
Yeah, so I in our experience, at least lately, a lot of the commodity prices, the material prices have normalized at least, and we're not on the roller coaster on the crazy volatility, which is for any professional company, it's just if you tell me what to expect, I could plan on it. It's the surprises, right? So that help if those curves are dampened, you're already better off. But what we find is that it's there's a media component to it, right? And so as a custom builder doing as long as I have, the media wasn't all over the great Portland cement price increase of 2002, right? We still had to deal with it. I'm making that up, but there's always something
Yeah.
that's high. Like when you build a house and develop land, like we touch so many different materials, wood, concrete, metal, wire, like there's of course something's always going to be high, something's going to be low. And across an entire project, at least now since COVID, things have kind of normalized. That's not to say they're as cheap as they were 20 years ago, but that's kind of life, right? We're never going to go back to those prices. So we are able to manage it now. And from our perspective, a lot of the supply chain stuff is one-offs. They're very unique. They're not across the board. And so certainly you'll still run across, you're trying to get a part for something or something, then of course there's an issue. But 90% of the things are maybe a bit longer than they used to be. But again, if you can plan, I mean, it takes 10, 12 months to build a home. So you have some time to plan. And if you order things early and you really are responsive to those details, it's fairly manageable.
Good.
I can imagine it would be harder in custom build because if people are changing their minds,
Right. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, for me, I think it was when COVID happened, 2019.
2020.
2020 started in 2019, but really 2020.
So anyways, I called my guy for a window order and he gave me the estimate. It was ridiculous. I don't know. I didn't know why. But we started blaming COVID at that point.
Exactly.
It took a minute.
They started blaming COVID and
So yeah,
prices.
and then he puts it at the bottom of it, saying that estimated timeline is 20 weeks.
Mhm.
And I'm like, is it a typo or something? Like 20 weeks for Windows? So, and then, I talked to a few other people and they are 20 weeks, 24 weeks. And that kind of led me to importing materials. I'm like, okay, let me see if I can do this. And I can speak the language. I know that it's, cheaper over there. Quality is higher. And can I do that? And that I did. I started importing building materials. And it started out with windows, and then I imported, kitchen cabinets, vanities, tile. So now I'm working on a house. It's not custom, but it's a high-end house. I'm literally working on like every inch of it, like whatever I can get, like furniture-wise, not furniture, but built-in stuff. So I'm still importing. And I'm 100% with Kent. Like, I think the prices came down and the crazy timelines are, gone. So I don't think I really need to do this. But at the same time, I'm like, if I can get better quality,
Mhm.
just a little bit cheaper. Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, I'm just
differentiate
gonna-
yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's a
I'm
big
gonna
thing
do
right
that.
there.
Sure.
I mean, I remember there was a time when they were only giving quotes that were 24 hours. So you had to make that decision that, okay, put the order in because tomorrow it was a different price. That's how crazy it got.
Mhm.
Just crazy. So, labor shortages, you know, what have you guys done to try to be more innovative about handling labor and things like that?
Um, I don't think I have anything really
You don't have any
interesting in
You
that.
don't have any problems?
Well, I mean,
Like all your contractors and workers are just so easy to do what you want, and they're
well,
always on time. And
well, no,
wow,
no, no.
let me
Here,
use them,
okay,
please.
yeah. So, okay, so I guess, okay, here's the fact, right? We live in East Tennessee, and 20% of the population are baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the numbers are going up and up. So workforce up to whatever 64 years old, right? So that is shrinking. I mean, it's not happening to us only, but I mean, it's happening to everywhere in the country. But I mean, those are, I guess, kind of normal. Like what I'm doing to, keep my guys with me, I guess I'm trying to create a good culture.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that it's working out every time, but
Right.
I mean, we
That's a big
try.
part of it, is creating a good
Yeah.
culture.
So for my company, I created these values. It took like a whole day. Like, what do I want? What do I want to see first? The second. So the first thing I said, reputation. I just want to make sure that, when they see Hip Town, they think about good, nice structure, but the style too. So, my husband is into workout a lot, and they have this brand called Strong and Pretty. I told him like recently, I'm like, oh, you know what? That's what I want for my company, Strong and Pretty. So, but my second value is it needs to be enjoyable. So they need to enjoy working with me, and I need to enjoy working with them.
Mhm.
And I don't know how's your world, Kent, but a few years ago, I mean, it was real. Like people were not, you know, I mean, you were basically being super nice for them to come on time or like, just be loyal. But now we are getting calls. I'm getting calls from different, trades saying that, hey, we were doing this and we can do this too. Like, just call us if you need anything. And that's kind of new.
Mhm.
So I don't know if the reason for that is seasonal, maybe slowdown,
Mhm.
or I don't know what else could it be. But I mean, I guess people management also, like people want to
Mhm.
work with people that um, they make money, they enjoy. So one thing I can tell you, like I I'm not after cheap.
Mhm.
What was it? You can have good, cheap, and
Fast.
fast. Yeah. So I rather to have good being number one, and then whatever the next thing is. But again, like I see those as regular challenges that I mean, not in construction, but everybody in
Everybody.
workspace, they are going through those problems,
Mhm.
not problems, but facts. I mean, when you have 20%, population over 65, I mean, yeah, you are having a hard time with labor.
For us, it's the labor shortage is real, but it's kind of like anything else, is recognizing that the folks you're working with are trying to run a business too, and in particularly what we do, you get varying levels of sophistication, of course, in the trades and subcontractors we use. So it looks different with every example, but making sure that what's important to them is handled. So that can be timeliness of payments, that can be maybe they're looking to move up in the market in terms of the type of work they do or the
Mhm.
quality of work they do. And it's more about an arm around the shoulder kind of an approach rather than a finger in the face. And so that's worked out really well for us. And we have kind of a built-in ability to inspire folks as well, in terms of some of the projects we do are interesting in some way and exciting for people. It's not the same old humdrum type of work that they might be used to doing. That's good. And then Chattanooga is in an interesting location. given our history and the way our company is built out, we've drawn labor down from Chicago down here. It's easy. It's a 1-day drive. No big deal. We had a crew install a bunch of cabinets on a project, and they left Chicago late Thursday night, drove through the night, showed up at 8 in the morning on Friday, and worked through the weekend, and we're back on a job site in Chicago on Monday, right? So it's a job they didn't expect to get. They were happy to all pile in a van and drive down here. And so being creative for sure, and figuring out where you can draw from and how to do so is really the key.
Good. Yeah. That's utilizing your resources. I mean, even taking contractors that are in different states and bringing them down if they're, if it makes sense,
Right.
they're good for the project. So,
Right.
okay. Good. So a little bit more about affordability. So what have you both been able to do in terms of just dealing with the affordability issue, or has it really been an issue for what both of you do in terms of your projects?
So, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, it's I certainly wouldn't say affordability is not an issue. It's just not a new issue,
Okay.
right? Everyone has a budget, regardless of what that budget is. And maybe being who we are as a people, what you want is usually a little higher than the budget you have, right? That just seems to be the case. I don't know why, it just always
Your
is.
budget on
Everyone's-
a champagne.
Right, you're always
taste.
nudging, but the funny thing is that could be the case at a $500,000 project or a $5 million project. It's always the case, right? So affordability is critical to everyone, but we read that as a company, it's actually value is what people are looking for. It's rarely about the price tag. It's about what is the associated value with that. So in a custom home, that could mean, oh man, I've been in love with this tile backsplash forever. I'm going to do it no matter what, right? Or it can mean, as a builder, I have to provide something to them at a price that is proportional to the value they place in that, which might be lower than I would want it to be. So you have to be flexible. And from our perspective too, then we build that into the design process so that the design is efficient in terms of square footage, because a square foot equals cost. That's just our best way of measuring the cost of a project. Though I heard a great example, pricing out a house on a cost per square foot is kind of like going to the car dealership and asking what's the cost per pound for the car, right? Because it's the best tool we've got, but it's not a great one, because a square foot in the kitchen is a lot more than a square foot in
Gotcha.
the middle of a family room. Anyway, I digress.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So what we do is I will say we manage the size of the house, but more importantly, we manage the flow, the use of the house, so that the house we design for you, you're going to use 90% of that house on a weekly basis, right? Gone are the days of a spare living room that, is like a museum, like in grandma's house, and you can't touch the furniture and all that,
The
right?
plastic cover.
The plastic covers and all, yeah. So we don't really do that anymore. Instead, you're going to make the most out of the dollars you have and design the house to the way you live, your lifestyle, the things that are important to you, and that really it is cost management, affordability, but it hides under the guise of kind of good design and being efficient.
Well, but you also don't do a cost plus approach,
Correct.
which is a very key aspect for people to understand.
Yeah.
Cost plus is not a smart way to consider buying a home,
Right.
because
Yeah, it's our contract is we do a guaranteed price for a specific scope. We go to great pains on detailing what that scope is, but so long as that scope doesn't change, your price doesn't change. So we've of course looked at cost plus, because in our current contract form, if we make a mistake or something happens with a vendor or a subcontractor, we're at risk. But when we have tried it in the past, cost plus, just in our business doing what we do, always ends up with a client that is kind of unhappy with you at the end. And so we're built on relationships. We're all about the experience of the process. And our whole business is based on referrals. And so I'd rather have a happy client at the end rather than someone that feels like I got in their pocket and they paid for my mistakes in a cost plus scenario. That's not great. And so we just kind of take all that off the table and say that we're the experts. And if I make a mistake on pricing out your foundation, then I'm going to hire a better bidder, but that's not your fault, right? And so that's how we approach it. And at least people feel confident that their money is going where it needs to and get the most out of it.
So it's really just providing value on any level is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that we saw your model home in Black Creek a few months ago, and it's really impressive, just like the way that just the flow of the house and how you explain how the view, you can see the mountains this way, the sun this way, and just how you design the whole thing. So I thought it was really really cool. But that's just a great
Yeah, thank
example,
you.
I think, of
Yeah.
of values. Just the house you have there in Black Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So I guess affordable is a word that nobody knows what that is in housing. So making, homes a little bit cheaper is, I guess, different than creating affordable housing.
Mhm.
And this is for our town and anywhere else. So like as a builder, especially in our space, like I'm building this little neighborhood with 7 homes, and they are going to be rentals. And I'm trying to look at budget-friendly construction designs. It's not like cutting corners, but in construction, like you can, design a room that you are going to be using, 4x8 drywall sheets, and you are not going to waste a whole lot, or just the height
Mhm.
of the structure, or, how do you put your roof? You can't just build a beautiful butterfly roof that is going to cost you, so much money compared to just a simple one. So we are looking at those, but I guess the point, though, affordable housing. So we don't have one of our investor friends here. Like he is building affordable housing,
Mhm.
but even his price point is like the cheapest house you can build, 250,000.
Mhm.
Okay, it doesn't sound terrible if you are in a space that you are building homes at 500 million, but whatever, right? 250. So, but when you look at the Hamilton County in general, your area median income is around 60,000. And so there's a group, they call them extremely low income.
Mhm.
And that's basically the people that make 30% less than that 60,000. So
Right.
whatever that is, 40,000, let's say, right?
40,000.
Okay, so historically, people spend 1/3 of their income in housing.
Mhm.
So 40,000. So what is that? I mean, maybe you're looking at maybe somewhere around $1,500 max.
Max. More like 1,200.
Yeah, for your housing,
Mhm.
right? So, but I mean, when you look at $250,000 home, that's the cheapest anybody can. I cannot build it,
Right.
but he manages to build it. So, while you are looking at it, your insurance, taxes, and I'm assuming that these people are not going to be able to put 20% down.
No.
So let's assume that they have 5% down. That'd be amazing.
That's really surprising if they do.
Yeah, if they do that, with all of that, you are close to $1,800.
Mhm.
So I don't even know if, I mean,
It's a real challenge.
yeah, I don't even see a solution. But the problem is, in our county, we need 10,000 units for the people that we are talking about. Their
Mhm.
income is 40,000. Like, I mean, this is like the real
problem.
data. So that's very interesting. I do feel like we are going to be seeing more regulation changes. Like they are working on this zoning. I think it's going to be flexed a lot.
Mhm.
And then I think we're going to see more, government supported
Grants.
projects. But I mean, again, going back to my business, like I'm trying to, keep my costs down, whatever I can do for that. Yes, I'm importing materials. It's a lot of work, but I'm doing it, right? Or getting estimates.
Mhm.
So I remember we had one project, and the lumber prices, they were kind of like going up and down one
Yeah, it was
point.
really challenging.
So it was during that time, and we got a lumber package, and I'm like, whoa, this is this is a lot. And I started shopping. So we actually asked two other building companies to give us an estimate. And I couldn't believe it. From one project, it was a 4,500 square foot home. I mean, it's a good
Mhm.
size home. But let's say we saved, after we doing our job, we lower the cost $20,000. I mean, I don't think you can do that now because again, numbers are more stable, but we still do that.
Mhm.
Like I don't do it for every item, but like if we are going to be needing whatever, like 100 OSB. Well, okay, great. I love working with my building company in town, but let me also check Home Depot. Like, are they cheaper?
Mhm.
And you'll be surprised. You can actually save some money. And the other thing that I am trying to do is multiple buildings.
Mhm.
So you can actually, maybe lower the cost on
Mhm.
labor. I mean, material is a material,
Mhm.
like if you are getting concrete,
Right.
right? So yeah, those are the things that I'm doing to help, my bottom line numbers.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Affordability is a real challenge. I work with CHOTA, which is a local government that is focused on building affordable housing. And they had some houses that they built in 2006 or 2008 in a challenging area at that time. And now it's not such a challenging area for first time home buyers, but they couldn't sell them. So they rented them. And now they're starting to sell them. And even at the price of $189,000, it was hard to get people to qualify for them at that lower income level because of the interest rate right now. The interest rate's so high that it makes it unaffordable even at a house of $189,000. That's amazing.
Wow.
That's totally amazing.
Yeah.
So we have to really figure out this affordability situation with that group of people. And it's probably going to be more density. It's not, more townhomes, more things where you can build more efficiently than a single family home.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Kent or Tuba?
Oh, good.
18
Wow.
questions.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Wow.
We
Oh,
can do
God,
all
Oh,
the
yeah.
questions.
good. All right.
Okay.
Do we have a handheld mic?
So I'm curious,
Sorry.
what is the craziest creative aspect someone has?
Oh my, that's,
The most creative way.
Creative custom aspect.
Oh,
oh man. I'll
the
do
most
two.
creative custom
Ask.
ask. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So I'll do my favorite and then I'll do I have three. So I'll do my favorite first. And this was just because when we do a design process, people come in with their wish list. If I want this, I want this, I want this. We had a gentleman come to us and his whole wish list was experiential, like how I want to live in my house. And my favorite thing was on his list, it was number 10 or whatever, was I want a spot to lay in my hammock on Sunday morning and drink my coffee while I'm reading the paper. Like, isn't that great? Like, like, what a great way to design a house, right? Of course. I mean, that's perfect. So that's not crazy. But we had another gentleman, we designed a house for him. And so this, I mean, it gets crazy because there's big dollars involved and stuff, and it's not the norm, but it's kind of silly. But so we designed a house for him on a lot. It was on Lake Michigan, and it was a big house, and he liked it. He and his wife went back and looked at it, and they're like, "Can we make it bigger?" And we're like, "Well, no, you don't really have any more room." He said, "Give me a week," and then he came back and he had bought the house next door, and now he had two lots, and we kept designing. We made the house bigger. And it was on the end of a cul-de-sac, and so there were no more lots to buy. And he's like, I want a bigger garage. And we're like, well, I mean, you can't. There's the lake on that side. There's the cul-de-sac on the other side. He said, give me a week. And he came back and he bought the cul-de-sac from the city.
What?
Isn't that crazy? Right? No, I mean, okay, great. Anyway, so and then more. This is kind of an interesting one. This was back before safe rooms were like a real trend. But we had a guy that had it figured out that they did a panic room over their garage and then had a drop down stair that dropped down right on above their car. So they had it all set up and the whole family had a plan. They could run to the bonus room, drop the stair, hop in the car and get out of Dodge.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Last one. I got one more. I got so many.
That's a great
Um,
one.
I'm sorry. And then it's another one back to the design process and the wish list. We had a guy that his only desire for the whole, and this happens a lot, right? Men and women, and the women have like this giant list of all the things they want. And the guys are like, I want a big TV or whatever it is, right? He's like, his only wish for the outside of the house was that he wanted it to look like Wayne Manor from Batman. That was his only thing. That's all he cared about. So anyway.
I was about to say the safe room escape was almost kind of like a Batman.
Yeah, it was very
Okay.
Batman thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Fun.
Sue, I have a question for you specifically for Chattanooga and kind of the surrounding area. What do you think legislatively we can do to help the affordability? Like, do you think the city, what in your these are my top 2 things that would really let me be successful in building affordability housing?
We are smiling because me and Ida, we are working on a project. So, for the last 2-3 years, I'm like, how do we do this? Like, we need, cheaper homes, but, it's just very limited. You can do only so much. And one of the ways of doing that is modular construction. So you create the neighborhoods and then you build your structures offsite and then you bring them and, basically secure everything. But Hamilton County has one of the worst regulations on modulars. Like they have different zonings and a lot of homes are with the current code at R1, like residential 1, and you have to have a residential 5 lots to be able to do that. And they're like maybe, I don't even know, 5%, 1%,
very
so
low.
little. So that's something we are passionate about, and we are kind of making our plans to talk to people that they would care because they care about affordable housing, right? So that's one thing, and county has a little bit better regulations, I guess, but one thing that I see, a lot of people are leaving. Like it's a problem for the city, like permitting departments and reviews and all that stuff. And they are making, I feel like they are making things harder, like in the process of getting your approvals. So I think I don't know, if we are talking to right people to kind of have just healthy budget for the city, for people to do their job. I mean, we are paying taxes, right? Why don't you want to get my tax money sooner than later? So that's one thing that I feel like it's a problem. If you are doing this, it is a problem. And I don't know if you guys know, but currently they are changing the zoning in the city. And this doesn't happen often. And like, if you guys can come up with anything, I think it's a good idea to talk with your councilwoman, men, whoever, to say that, hey, did you guys look into this? Because everybody is creative and they can think only so much. They are not in this business. You may come up with an idea and say that, hey, you know what? Okay, I'm going to be doing this and it's going to be helping 500 people, right? And the good thing is, I guess, they listen. So I don't remember the name of the department, but Miss Susan, like you can go talk with her and say that, hey, I have a project. This is what I'm planning to do, like whatever that is. And can you work with me? And there are projects that the government, it's HUD or city, like there are different programs, but they can actually give you up to $40,000 per unit. It doesn't matter, it's a studio, 3 bedrooms, and that's a lot of money in construction. So you can, go ahead and look into those options, but they are looking at projects. So if you go with a good plan, I think you can do that. And right now, again, They are changing the zoning codes, and it is going to be flexible. They are changing the lot sizes. Like I have one project that I wanted to just go ahead and start like 3 months ago, but I'm running the numbers. If I go ahead and, develop the land today, I can put 15 to 20 homes. But if the new regulations are in place, that number is going to increase 20 to 30%. So that's going to help the, lot frontage, city. Like, it's so weird, but county has smaller lot requirements than the city.
They're not consistent.
Like, what? Like, how? So, but those are the things that I can think of.
I have another question for Chatt.
Yeah.
When you came into town, you said about 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
how did you market yourself? I know you said you were mainly referral based, but how did you market when you first got here? And the second part of that question is, custom building was kind of unique at that time. Do you see more competition in that space now with people doing custom homes?
So we marketed, I mean, we came here, we had a lot going for us. It was a bit of a soft landing, to be honest. We landed in a master plan community, Black Creek, which is over on the, sorry, I'm new, north,
Lookout Valley side.
southwest side-ish, Lookout
Yes.
Valley. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
So that was helpful because they were marketing, and so we would get leads through them. And then, of course, Grace and her team, we met really early on, and so we've been doing that. And then a lot of social media. And so we had a pretty robust social media presence on Instagram and Facebook and that sort of thing. So we did a lot of that. I think you could still, back then, you could still target, by zip code and things like that, especially on Facebook. And so a lot of that just to get our name out there. And then there's, of course, certain publications in town that are, important to be in so that you're on the doctor's office's waiting room table and that kind of thing. But from there, also through the subcontractor world and just introducing ourselves and just building a network, talking to a carpenter who knows a plumber, who knows, and working your way. There was a lot of boots on the ground, hard work, really, to get our name out there, and it's starting to pay off now. But it's like it's like anything. It's getting that flywheel going is a lot. And your second question, haven't seen a lot of that. I think a lot of builders are reluctant to employ architects full time and carry that as an overhead expense, if you will. It's not true. The reason I say that, it's not really overhead because you can charge architectural fees. So for us, it's not a loss at all. Some firms will do it as a loss leader, if you will, and will do kind of free architecture to get you in. But even that tends to be smaller scale. So what we do is really unique, really nationally. And so folks here and really every market we've been in, the closest is a builder may hire an architect for a particular project. And then of course for that project, then they're design build. And that's certainly valid. It's not a wrong way to go, of course. It's just the builder probably won't keep that architect on staff for the next one and the next one, if that makes sense. So yeah.
16 more questions to go, right?
All right, we are doing good. Flip Jeff.
Okay. Okay, so I have a question for you. So I think, well, one, I saw your custom home and with all the things you employed, I thought it was absolutely amazing. So
Thank
I don't know why, but I just started thinking, would you ever, or have you considered an importing business since it's such it differentiates you, because I'm sure a lot of homes here do not have the quality, the same items from Turkey, but would you ever do like a wholesale business for, I guess, other contractors to kind of give them the option to buy those, beautiful items that you import at a good cost that still makes money for you and also allows other contractors and people like us to buy. That's because we don't speak the language and we don't have that unique thing that you
Hey, you have a lot of other countries.
That's true.
I did, but then again, that's another business, right? And actually, I thought of that for something else. So again, I'm just keep thinking, how can we make these, how can I build cheaper, faster? So that's the main focus. And I spent a lot of time importing microhomes and kind of either selling them or using them. And that's still, I mean, something that I want to do, but I guess I would need a partner to run that business for me. Like I can do the work, the connections and all that stuff. So no. So
Brad can teach you how to squat 400 pounds. That's what
yeah,
happens.
yeah, that's yeah. So the short of it is, I guess, yes, I did. I mean, I definitely thought about it, but it's maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just have one question. No, I'm sorry.
yeah.
So for both of you guys, do you see custom homes? Obviously, the appetite for custom homes is there because you guys are in the business. But we sold three duplexes recently, and the demand for duplexes are obviously at an all-time high because
Mhm.
people think they can offset some of their mortgage costs. Do you see a market where duplexes and multifamilies can enter into that custom home space?
Hmm.
You just gave Ken an idea.
You can reach out to me.
Yeah, we should talk. Yeah. That's fascinating.
It's just
It is true, though,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
the demand was
So how would you sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
So how would you define that? Is it really just higher end duplexes, right? Is that
Yeah,
what we're
so-
saying? Like
so we
Like
better
a paired
finishes and
townhome.
that kind
yeah,
of thing?
we have
Yeah.
a higher end duplex and
Yeah.
a quadplex actually that we more than
Yeah.
happy to share with you.
Yeah.
But there is a demand for the standard run-of-the-mill duplex with the builder grade materials, but there is a demand for people,
Mhm.
hey, I'm willing to spend 300-400 more than market, but I do want a custom feel and I want the flexibility of not being locked into a 30-year, just a
Uh-huh.
year lease. So I was
Luxury.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we were wondering if
Yeah.
that was something that you guys saw in the future to help with affordability. If that
I do.
This is actually exactly what Tuba and I were talking about at lunch a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Like, but we were talking about it in the context of building custom built houses and putting ADUs on.
Mhm.
And that way that provides some additional income for to
Mhm.
offset the increased cost of mortgages. And she said to me, I can build this for you and then you can live for free. And I said, that sounds like a good strategy. So
Yeah.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
See how it works.
So that's exactly what I thought. I don't know custom. I don't do any custom build. I am like, I guess, like I don't even know how to do that. So,
I think you
So
could do like a
I-
preferred build.
Or not even
Right.
custom, but more unique.
right.
Right.
Okay.
Left, right,
Right.
more something a little bit more razzle
Yeah.
dazzle.
So, I mean, I guess the best thing about the city, again, they are trying to increase density, right?
Mhm.
You can do that with ADUs. And
Mhm.
I was looking at a lot and I'm like, I cannot make the numbers work, but I can make the numbers work if I'm putting an ADU. And yes, you do, but then you have challenges with that because appraisals are coming 50% less than the actual structure. So it is, I shouldn't say anything, but it's stupid, right? But it is the fact. So I don't know, to be honest, I don't see, like for downtown, like townhomes that I built, like you may come and see the ones that I finished. They look nice, nicer than maybe, just your regular duplex or whatever. But I don't know if I would say, like higher end. So, and also you're gonna be really careful with the market right now, like in our market, like I may be 100% wrong, but this year we added additional 1,000 apartment units in this town. That's a lot of apartment units.
22.
Between 2022 to November of 23. So that's definitely higher than like for the last 20 years. So we may be fine. I don't know. I wish I did know more. But with that, I mean, a lot of those are also nice. They have also pools and, different, people like being in downtown and having different things. So I wanted to build 4 units, and sounds good because up to 4 units, anybody can buy
Residential.
it. Yeah.
You can
with
go VA,
30-year
FHA.
anything.
Yep.
So I can see that, like, if you are doing a project that you are building a lot of 4 units for people to buy, investors to buy. But in today's numbers, I do need to, write it, like, just I need to see if the numbers going to work out.
Yeah.
So,
I
Just
see
I
it.
mean, it will work out any day if you are the owner occupant.
Right.
Any day. It will be wonderful. You will be living for free and then you'll be making money.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
that's what we are
That's-
talking about,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
But we
owner-
need to
owner
educate
occupant,
people on
right,
that.
yeah.
Oh, if it is owner occupied, absolutely. I don't even know why people are not doing that.
I think the millennials are really, we've worked with a lot of builders that are doing like what we call paired townhomes. It's basically a duplex, but it's a paired townhome. And they're doing some preferred finishes, but there's a ton of millennials that, it's their first property. They have a VA loan, which is really amazing. And they want to live in one side and have their tenant pay for their loan. And so that, in my opinion, is a huge model. And a lot more individuals are going to be looking at that over the next 2 to 4 years because it's their first home, but they don't need a big custom home. But they would love to have a very unique paired townhome, which gives them some finishes that they can make some adjustments on. But I would call it more of a preferred model, not a custom model, where you can make some options in your granite, in your tile, in your flooring, in your cabinets, but it's not like overboard.
But I could see, like, that's not my world for sure, but I'm fascinated by the question. I think it's a really good one because in that owner occupied thing, what if the owner had some say in the design? What if it was
Yeah.
truly custom designed for the owner and the occupant, and it's not a mirror image? It's two elevations mirror image of each other, right? There's no reason it can't be. It's a little bit of architectural work, maybe a little more complexity on the construction,
Yeah.
right? Those are the two things I can see, but the architectural work's not that much more.
But taking words out of your mouth, we're not building 3 doors, we're just moving the doors.
Right.
That's
So it's not that much more expensive.
Yeah.
And I would argue, this is the architect saying that. I mean, how do you put a price tag on great design, right? It's at least speed to market or speed to sale, right?
Sure.
It's gonna be more attractive than the other option.
Yeah.
And then in our world, in terms of how that works, like I said, multi-generational living is a real thing in the homes we're designing. And so that's actually exactly the same thing, right? It may not, it may be that it's not a duplex in the sense that they're the same size, right? It's maybe, 2/3 of one and 1/3 kind of a split. But I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I think that there's no reason that you
We
can't.
actually saw that recently where a father and a daughter were going to live in, one side was going to be the father and one side was going to be the daughter. They'd have 2 separate areas, but they lived close to each other.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of that concept
Yes.
that we're seeing.
Yeah, we love because the clientele that we've attracted with the floorplan, for example,
Mhm.
with the little special looks that we did to it aesthetically, the clientele that we get that apply for it are RNs,
Doctors,
yeah,
lawyers.
or like young
Mhm.
Yeah.
professionals that want to stay till their college time ends.
Mhm.
And so we're like, oh, well, someone could, want to live in something like this because they have a great clientele of tenants around them as well.
Yeah,
Who are
that's
network
great.
tenants.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And my final question is, outside of real estate, what would you guys be doing if it wasn't real estate, or when you're done with real estate, or real estate didn't exist?
Oops.
I just need a nap. I'd probably,
You
I'd
can,
probably
answer
retire.
this one. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, architecture, I guess that's real estate, I guess. I'd do architecture for something else, I guess, rather than homes. That's kind of cheating. That's not a real answer.
Yeah.
Spaceships, I like it.
Because
Yeah.
there's no real estate, you have to be off. the grid.
Exactly. And spaceships are ugly.
So
Yes.
You have to build spaceships.
Yeah,
Yes.
price and housing, not real.
Ah, man, I don't
I
know.
have to access because we're struggling with finding hobbies.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
You don't have any time for a hobby.
I wake
Yeah.
up at
Yeah.
night praying for a toilet to break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, really. I was gonna say I could be an urban designer or something. Yeah. And oh, actually,
You
I'm
could
I'm
be.
learning flute right now, but I don't see myself doing that full time. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, hey, I found something that I love. I don't want to change it for
There
sure.
you go.
But-
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one for both of you. Since you both do different things, what's your target audience? Are you seeing more people from Chatt buying your home? Or are you seeing people who are migrating to the city buying your house?
Good question.
And
Good
then
question.
And each of those, right? So people coming from outside, what are they looking for in a house versus local who moving from the within? Is it like a similar kind of taste they want, or it's like a complete contrast?
Okay, well, I mean, with the houses that I'm selling, like I try to sell maybe 3 to 5 homes, and some of these are a little bit higher end. We had both. Like we had one client came from somewhere north, and they literally spent 5 minutes in the house, and it was their first home, $1 million price point, and they were like done. So in South, like everybody wants main, like master on main. So I noticed that people from other states, they don't really care about that. But we had another client that, he was local, and so for rentals, I guess it's the same. I think the people in town, they know their options, and they are maybe a little bit more picky compared to out of state people, but I didn't sit down and think about it, so I don't know. This is all I can think of.
Yeah, for us, I would say it's heavily weighted towards relocators coming from somewhere else. Probably 2/3, 1/3, something like that. And of those, nearly all of the relocators are, well, 80% of them are empty nesters, probably 20% of them are relocating professionals, doctors, that kind of thing. And so the differences are interesting. Not so much, nothing that I've noticed in terms of a trend, in terms of taste or the actual aesthetic of the house. Though someone from town is more likely to want the modern farmhouse look, I would say, for whatever reason. But the people coming from out of town are generally more concerned about the house itself, and people from in town and in the area are more concerned about the land. So it's and the house is secondary.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining us. You guys did an amazing job. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. But new construction is a great topic, and it's something that a lot of investors are really interested in. And it's kind of like this world where, what is it, and how do I get started? And so we thought this would be a great way for you to kind of learn a little bit more about it. It's new construction has a lot of opportunities in the future, and I love the idea of kind of a custom duplex concept because I think it would do really, really well. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
you guys.
So we got food, wine, beer, enjoy, network.
Cool.